only because we know that we have parents or grandparents who believe in religion. They will keep it for us. So you can take. So also, if we have such a belief in science, we think that we can do anything and science will correct it. With regard to the human health, human body, our own what we should eat, what we should not eat, in everything, because science and technology are there, we think that there is an answer to all our problems. And hence, to develop any true thought in modern times, you have to develop a critique of development. So in my critique of development, which has become the biggest word for communists, for congressmen, and for Modi also, development, I said, don't use the word development, use the word sarvodaya, which is better, unto this last. So you have to think of every development in the sense of whether it will help the last man. So that's the only way. But what I mean is, this is the modern world system. Is there an answer to all these? Can we create both equality and excellence? I believe that we can create real excellence only through equality. There is no Nobel Prize winners in India because there are quite a few castes who have not got any education. And hence they have not been able to show what they can do. That's equality is the answer for very big questions of this kind. Can you create merit? You have to create merit in this country. I'll give you an example. Sri Ram was also there. We have all come back from Sagar, Hegodu. K.B. Subbanna, my friend, started a new school there, drama school, 1 year. Quite a few boys and girls who may not be able to do anything else, who come from very poor families and very backward areas, take this because there is some money also. They get their food free. They study for a year. Do you know what has happened in Karnataka? Karnataka has produced perhaps some of the best people for theatre in the whole country with this 1 year course given to Dalits, lower castes, Siddhis, tribal people. Within a year they are transformed and they are not spoilt with other kinds of education because they go through from morning to evening exercises, learning, reading new plays, and they just produced a play this time, Sita Kalyanam, written by a great writer of the 19th century. He produced it in 1901, Sita Kalyanam. He was a Gauda from Mandya. He was a lawyer, Sri Kantesha Gauda. And that play is like a Shakespeare play. It plays with reality and illusion. There is a true Rama, there is a Maya Rama. There is a true Ravana, there is a Maya Ravana. There is a true Sita, Maya Sita. There are two of us in every one of us. Isn't that true? Most of us have two of us, some of us have three of us. Many of us. And this play has wonderfully depicted it. And a young man who was trained in this school from one of the very, very backward castes has produced it. People who saw it said, it's a world-class theatre. How did we do it? What was the criteria? We did not do the Arhata test as you do for business schools. Anyone with an SLC was Arha for it. And unless India opens out like this, it can't create equality in the country. And once you create it, there will be many talents. India will be, if you go to America, I have taught in America, there will be a separate section for Nobel Prize winners to park their cars. There will be so many Nobel Prize winners. That may happen in India too. But we are not getting the best out of our population. There are school dropouts and so many problems, they are dropouts. And these 2 or 3 days, I will give you my immediate experience of equality. I was put in this committee to find out how many people deserve Rajyotsava Prashasti. There are 50 of them. We looked at all the, we should not ask them to apply. We should have them nominated. It's a wrong thing, sir. You are also there, in the government, so you should be able to say this. Somebody should nominate them. Anyhow, I had a very peculiar feeling. For 50, if you want to select them purely on merit, you can select only Brahmins. Only Brahmins, because you will get 50 Brahmins easily. You will get at least 45 Lingaites, or 50. But if you don't do that, and if you think that there should be social justice also, recognition of new knowledge in a new people who have been exposed to these new things in the last 50 years only half a century. Some histories are histories of 1,000 years, it's only half a century. Then you will find in every caste an intelligent man. What produced it? Reservation produced it. Ambedkar produced it. We should never forget that country is growing in the true sense by creating new intelligence in new classes. And particularly, I can tell you this from my own experience, to develop knowledge in mathematics is harder. The more abstract the subject, harder. But when intelligence is much more concrete, intelligence of the body, movement of the body, of the hands, of the speech, of acting, it is there everywhere. There are very intelligent people in their hands, in their eyes, in the way they move, in the way they express their talent, but they fail the SSLC examination because English is compulsory. And they don't pass it. Whereas here, there was no such thing. They passed and they showed that they can be very intelligent. Can you, as an Indian Institute of Management, redefine intelligence? Can you redefine intelligence to include not merely what happens in the so-called cerebral area, but in the whole body of the human being? Can you redefine intelligence? And then you will have more sportsmen, more people who can do better things. That, I think, is a challenge of our times, to redefine intelligence and look for it and develop it and change the whole criteria of arhata from other points of view also. Not give up arhata, but redefine it by taking scientifically into account certain kinds of intelligence which are already there, but which are not. I was one of the members in the drawing up of what kind of syllabus we should have at a national level, and in the cultural thing, I made a recommendation which was accepted by all the members and also the ministers. When you assess a student at the high school level, his other skills, cultural skills, are considered extracurricular or co-curricular. I said, consider it as curricular. If a boy or a girl is excellent in climbing a tree and jump from one branch to the another at the age of 8 or 10, there must be something extraordinary in that child. It should also be a curricular quality, curricular, not extracurricular. And if you do that, I think the other kinds of skills which are related to this will come later on. I'm not saying that this is the only skill, but there are other skills which are related to this skill. And a boy who can easily steal something. And I had friends, who could just pickpocket so easily that I would never know, and then they would come and bring it back. One of them is a very great man, Dr. Ratna. I have written about him. He could do it and he became very intelligent in other things. So there is a lot of mischief in children which is connected with intelligence, and we should be able to recognize it. That's why I said, these three great hungers, at the root of it is equality. And if you can meet that in terms of arhata, the others will also develop. And this is true of India, this is true of Europe, this is true of every country. And it is fashionable to call people who advocate these things like me as New Agers. I found out from my internet that there is a word for it, New Agers. Gandhi is one of the New Agers. Blake was one of the great New Agers. And a friend of mine who has written a book on New Agers, Martin Green, says that there are three kinds of solutions to all our problems. One is a systemic kind of solution. Most of you believe in system. You have to make a system, and if the system is good, you can change quite a few things by a better system. There is some truth in it. There's no doubt about it. There is some truth in it. System has to change. Karl Marx was also a systemizer. I think management people are also people who believe in systems. A good system makes for a better thing. And I'm also a systemizer because I told the chief minister, next time don't make people apply for this. Ask 100 people to nominate each one of them 2 or 3 people. So I'm trying to build a system so there is nothing wrong in system builders, but if you think that building system will change the world, you are wrong. Will make the world as it is work better. It will not change the world. And the other kind of people are people who believe in hegemonike. There is the first rule of good governance. If you can govern a country with love, great. If you can't govern a country with love, at least try to govern it with fear. Then you can have some governance. When Indira Gandhi had emergency, the trains began to run regularly. When Modi becomes Prime Minister, if he does, I don't want him to, the trains will run correctly.